Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well on this fine evening. I'm going to be doing a DVD update tonight, so I've got quite a few new DVDs to my collection. Some of them I purchased myself and others that have been sent to me for the House of Horror and some other people, which I'm really appreciative of. I appreciate every kind gesture. So it's always a good thing to add to my collection. So hopefully you find a few new titles within this stack of films, and this makes an interesting sort of video. So I'm going to start off with the screeners that was sent to me by the House of Horror, which is a channel that I do reviews for. So yeah, these screeners, they're a bit of a lottery. Now, I don't know, well, no one knows what they're like, but the House of Horror are given some screeners to review, and so it really is a lottery. It could be good, could be bad, and it makes it exciting. So that's something I really like. The majority of them aren't so good, but there's every now and then there's a film that comes out that's really surprising. So that's what I love about the channel, that you just review these films you haven't heard of and haven't been released yet. So the first one we've got here is a film called Bane. Now, I have no idea what this is about. Yeah, they don't come in a package, so there's no real synopsis at all, so hopefully that one's pretty cool. This one is Vampire Boys. Leaves little to the imagination as far as title goes, but it's not about the title, it's about the content, so hopefully this one is alright. These, majority of them are low budget sort of stuff. Now this one is Skull and Bones. Once again, a very uh, it's a very common sort of title. Doesn't really jump out at me, but hopefully, as I said, the content is the thing that counts, and hopefully that's good. Now this one, the title really made me laugh. It's a pretty unfortunate title, but it gives the impression that it's a comedy. Well, at least I hope it's a comedy, because if it's not, then the person who made the title should be shot. It's called The Gay Bed and Breakfast of Terror. So, no idea what to expect. That's a pretty far-fetched sort of title, so I don't know what to expect with that one. This one I reviewed for the House of Horror just today. This one really surprised me. This is called The Puppet Monster Massacre. Very low budget, but I found myself really enjoying this one. So if you like films like Team America, you'll like this one. Much lower budget, but I think it was more enjoyable than Team America. That's just my opinion. But if you want to know more details, then go to the House of Horror and check it out. This one definitely surprised me. This is one of the rare sort of films that you get from the House of Horror that are actually really, really cool. So, yeah, definitely worth checking out. This one is another House of Horror that they gave to me. This is a very low budget film called Hidden. This is the American version. It's not the Norwegian horror film under the same title. It looks really low budget, but I have high hopes for it because, you know, especially lately, I've seen some pretty good low budget stuff. So I have my hopes for this one. It looks pretty dark, so yeah, hopefully that one's going to be good. This one, unfortunately, wasn't good at all. I've reviewed this once again on the House of Horror. Really didn't like it. It was very boring and tedious. Peeping blog. I'm not a fan of Creep Creeperson's work. I've only seen one of his films, and that one being this one. So it hasn't been the best start, but I'm hoping that Creep Creeperson can redeem himself with his other films. So, yeah, it was just, the idea was okay, but it was executed very boringly, and it just really didn't have a lasting impression with me. So it's one of the forgettable ones, unfortunately. Now this one's a low budget film, but it is extreme, and I stress that, extreme. So if you don't like your hardcore sort of cinema, I would stay well away from this one. This one has some seriously horrifying scenes of violence, and that is Sick Girl. I like this one. As far as hardcore cinema goes, this is a must for anyone out there who likes your more extreme stuff. But if you're only a part-time horror fan, I would stay well away from this one because it is very hard to watch, especially at the end. So be very careful. I would recommend it for anyone who likes the more extreme stuff. Now this one was sent to me by a friend, Gary, who goes by the channel name of Kulfi. Great bloke. He sent me this New Zealand horror film. It's a more serious horror film rather than the early Peter Jackson comedy horrors. This one's called The Ugly. I've done a review of it, so if you want to check it out, then please feel free to do so if you want more details. Very surreal film, very different, and I actually found myself, I enjoyed it. It's not my favourite film, but it's certainly one that I would recommend you go out there and see, just for the fact that it's very unique. Next up is a film I just picked up today. That is Perkins 14. It looks really brutal, so I have expectations of the gore in this film. I had no idea what this is going to be like, so it just looked good and it was cheap, so I thought, why not? Another low-budget American independent film, I think. Now this one, Quarantine 2 Terminal, I kind of was a little bit disappointed by this one. I was expecting it to be like Quarantine, the same sort of sustained terror. Now Quarantine was a carbon copy of Wreck, so I was hoping that this one, I knew this one was a lot different from Wreck 2, but I was hoping that it could sustain the terror that Quarantine did. But unfortunately it didn't. It was a lot less intense than the first one. And Wreck 2, I think they would have it would have been better if they followed Rec 2, but unfortunately they've gone the different approach, which is something I can appreciate, but it just wasn't as intense as the first one. It's still a decent film, but if you want something intense like Rec 2, then you're going to be disappointed, because this one, it just grabs you around the throat, but it doesn't hold you for the entire duration. So I'll be doing a review of that no doubt sometime soon. This film, Essential Killing, starring Vincent Gallo. This had a lot of hype surrounding it. Unfortunately, it did not match that hype at all. I really didn't like this film. I'll tell you why in a review coming soon. But yeah, I just didn't get sucked into it like a lot of people did. It's unfortunate, each to their own, but as far as I'm concerned, this one was a disappointment. Now, this one wasn't a disappointment. It's a dark comedy. It's not a horror film at all. It's called A Somewhat Gentle Man. A very good character study of people who have just come out of prison and how prison can change your life. So I found that there was humorous elements to it, but it also painted a very real sort of world. So Scandinavian cinema is awesome, and I would definitely recommend you check this film out if you want something different. And I've done a review of it, so if you want to check that out, then please feel free to do so. I'm sorry if you can hear the noise. These are my sporting medallions. The stack is pretty big, so it's just knocking them. So if you want to know what that tingling, jingling sound is, then yeah, it's my medallions. This is a South Korean thriller. It had a lot of hype surrounding it. It's called Mother. I liked it. I'll be doing a review, so I'm not going to give details. I liked it, but it wasn't up to the same class as films like I Saw the Devil or Old Boy. Now, it's going to be pretty hard to reach those standards, but it had a lot of hype surrounding it. I kind of felt that it didn't quite match that hype and the expectation that I had, considering it was a South Korean thriller, but it's still worth checking out, and I will be doing a review as soon as possible. And last but not least, this film I am really, really excited for. It's a Spanish film, and you know, I've heard a lot of great things about it. It's a brutal film, and I just cannot wait to watch it, and that is The Last Circus. Set in the same time as Pan's Labyrinth, and it's quite brutal. So I really have a high expectation level for this one. It's supposed to be very insane, and you know, it's a foreign film, so it's spoken in the Spanish language. That's something I love, and so high expectations for this one. I've heard it's very, very good and shocking, so I cannot wait to watch it. Alright guys, that's it for my update. I hope you found that interesting. I'll be doing a review in the next few days. I haven't been the best as far as my mental health is concerned, but hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be back on the road to recovery in no time. So, yeah, that's it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, take care of yourselves and have a great day.